Welcome to Everyday Conversations with the Brook. I'm Molly, this is Haley and Benji, and we love these conversations because we just kind of get to open up conversations that we're hearing so many of you have on a daily basis that we're getting to have with you guys as well. And so the conversation today is on dating in Denver. This is a hot topic, I know, and we are excited to just fully jump on in. So guys, what would you guys say the dating culture is like in Denver?
I think it's, from everything I've heard from people, one of the best words I can say is bleak. I think people are feeling like there are not that many options. It was once deemed as Menver, and now it's like where people go to not grow up. It's the Peter Pan syndrome, lack of commitment, and really a lack of clarity. There's so much, I wouldn't say I feel all of these things I'm about to say, but some of the criticisms I've heard are that there's not much maturity, that there's that the guys are lazy and the girls let them be, and there is just a lot of high expectations and low effort.
High expectations.
What would you say, Benji?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are good moments and good stories of dating in Denver, but I also think it's hard. It's hard to date in Denver. I think, just a lot of young professionals trying to figure out life, activities, and finding time to date and commit to dating, I think, is just a struggle. And I'd say there's a lack of directness and even knowing how to do dating well or committing to someone. So I think people say they love the game, but truthfully hate the game of dating. Because at the end of the day, it's fun at times, but at the end of the day, it just, honestly, the game kind of sucks if you're just stuck in the game. So I think, it's hard.
It's hard. Well, and it can be interesting, like you said, Benji, it's we see so many young professionals move to Denver. It's one of the fastest growing cities, and they're moving here for fun and adventure and to find themselves. But it can be hard to find somebody else when you don't even know who you are or what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
It can be hard to kind of have a good match.
Yeah, I've heard it said that Denver is a BYOB city, bring your own boy, because most of the relationships, this guy was saying that, you see are people that brought them with them when they moved here, because there aren't many places to find people of quality that are not on dating apps. I've dated in Denver, Benji's dated in Denver, no longer dating in Denver.
That's true. Well, I dated my wife now in Denver.
But it can be pretty discouraging, or just even the fatigue of dating apps, and also just knowing or not knowing the kind of person that you're going on dates with until you give it a little bit of a test.
Yeah. So why would you guys say this culture, maybe the hardship of dating, high expectations, low engagement or satisfaction with dating is particularly happening in this city of Denver, even compared to other cities?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Denver is unique in if you're in I grew up in North Dakota. You're in North Dakota, there's not much to do. You settle down pretty fast. People get married pretty quickly in North Dakota just because there's nothing to do. And so Denver is very young, and there's a lot to do. You can go skiing, you can be in the mountains. There's a lot of nightlife. There's just a lot going on. And so I think it's just unique in that of you have so many options, so little time. So it's what do I spend my time doing? And dating can be exhausting, and there's so many options now with Hinge and all these other dating apps that it just gets hard to figure out we have all these options, all these things we can be doing. How do I spend my time? And a lot of times it's the mountains are actually more refreshing than going on 25 first dates. And so I think that plays into all the opportunities that we have out here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's so much to do that doesn't require a lot of us to commit to. And I was talking to some people, and they're nobody moves to Denver to settle down. Like you move to Denver because you're seeking adventure, you're seeking the mountains, so you're seeking whatever it is. Even if you're not an outdoorsy person, you have the draw to be in Denver because it's a young city, like we've talked about. It is transient, and there's more or less like so many different things happening, even from the different seasons that are turning. And so there's so much vying for our attention, but so little demanding our accountability. So I think that there's that tension of like, oh, I would rather do this than actually put in the hard work of figuring out, do I like this one person? Am I going to like wrestle through if they don't hit all of these criteria that I've set up ahead of time? When a lot of the times in relationships, you come in and you probably don't meet one another's perfect criteria, but you grow together and figure out like, okay, I really like this person, so this is less of an issue, or I didn't know that I liked this about a person, and this person is like really helping me see that. And so I think there's less, I think even flexibility to learn and meet and get to know another person. You want it to be what you want, exactly how you want it. It's already curated. You don't want to have to, you know, I've heard my friends joke about designing your boyfriend if they like don't have the great fashion sense or they don't have certain qualities. And there's a lot in relationships that you just adapt and change. And obviously if there's no big red flags, you might as well just say yes to a first or second date and figure out the kind of person that you ultimately want to be with and what your intentions for dating are.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I mean, I guess with that in mind, Benji, like what would you even say are some hardships that you see men experiencing in dating, that maybe things that are hard for them, or maybe things that you see that you want to call men out, you know, a little bit? I'm just being honest. Like, but either side of the coin, like what's hard for them, or what would you say you see as a pattern sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a digital age where maybe it's easier to swipe on a screen than it is to actually start conversations with people. And so I guess I would encourage both people. I mean, guys, I think we do need to be direct of like, and we need to, I mean, it's hard when there's so many options. We do need to like figure out like, okay, this is actually a person, instead of going through, I got 4 options here, like finding who's one or two girls that I'm like actually interested in getting to know better and being really direct with them of, hey, these are the things that I like about you. I'd like to go get to know you more and take you out to coffee and get to know you more. You know, so I think there is a directness in being specific with certain people. I would also speak to girls of like, throw the guy a bone. Like guys are, I mean, we're reaching out, we're throwing things out, and we need to know that you're interested. And so if you like someone as a girl, like don't play hard to get, don't play that game. Like, be intentional with them too, and give them a bone. Let them know like that you're interested.
The game's hard enough. Like, be okay making it obvious, right? And something I would even add to that is, I was having coffee with a friend the other day, and we were kind of saying, because of the online dating culture, we've kind of also created this culture where it's okay to be talking to multiple people at the same time. You're always seeing, is there a better option? And what I would actually challenge men and women alike is to honor the person you're interested in by, if you're talking to somebody, can you just talk to that person until you figure out if it's going to work, and then get back on and look for somebody else? Because if you're talking to that person while still looking and seeing if there's somebody better, that's going to create discontentment. And honestly, if you get married in the future, that's going to set you up for the divorce, right? Like when you get married, you're not always thinking, oh, is there somebody better out there? But if you're on dating apps and it's creating this culture where I'm with somebody, but I'm always wondering if there's somebody better, that is not going to set you up well for marriage. So I think that's one thing we can do to honor relationships.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good. Even like, I was on Hinge for a long time. You match with a ton of people, but you can still be intentional with like, oh, I'm actually talking to this girl. We're going on dates, so I'm not messaging all these other people, and giving that person a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to speak.
Yeah. What about you, Haley? Like anything, as you're just thinking through, like the ladies, like any advice you would give the ladies, anything that you would add?
Yeah. I would say, one, stop projecting. Stop projecting your past experiences or the ways that you've been burned in the past on the new person that you're meeting. I think it can be really easy to just already have a negative view of how the date is going to go, or you're on alert to see any small thing to kind of nitpick. And so it already disqualifies what could be a great person. Like, I think we've talked about how there'll be girls that will say, oh, if he didn't open my car door on the first date, then he's out of here. And it's like, well, if he doesn't know that that's an expectation you have, how is he going to do it? And so I think that there are plenty of times that we can have these long list of expectations, and it's really important to know the kind of person that you do want to date, like the quality of the person. But when you're letting things such as so simple as they're not opening my car door without even knowing that that's a thing, because in Denver, that's not really a culture that is ingrained from upbringing. Like if you're in the South, like when I was in school in Texas, that was more of a thing.
Yeah.
But it's having some grace and fluidity for this new person that you're meeting, and keeping your mind open about it. So stop projecting that it'll be a negative experience, that all men are trash, that all of this stuff, like, and just go in, have a good attitude, and get to know the person that's sitting across from you. I think we can have such a bad attitude about it, and then it just obviously is going to change what the date is like. You're not going to have a good time on the date if you're looking for the bad. So be like, have a good attitude, stop projecting, and be gracious about even just meeting someone, because that, like, you could just walk away and know a decent person, or walk away and be like, actually, like, that's the personality type I don't click with, and that's okay. I think we put so much on a first date, on a second date, like, we have to know these things. They have to already know my habits and what, like, how to anticipate my needs. And that can be something completely foreign to them that I think is just really important to, like, manage your expectations. It doesn't mean don't have solid expectations and don't accept the bare minimum, because in Denver, like we said, their guys are known for being lazy and the girls are letting them, but that doesn't mean that you project that onto your date experience. It means, like, you can still have these qualities of a person that are non-negotiables, but also if it's this, like, 50-point list, good luck. It's just not gonna work out if you're not willing to be flexible.
I think that's good. I mean, I think it's almost like checking your heart your mind before you go on a date. Is your mindset like, wow, I want to value this person, I want to get to know them regardless of what happens? I think that kind of lowers your expectation level, where you're like, okay, I just want to get to know this person as a human being. I want to see them for who they are, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I met my boyfriend on a dating app because I lost a dare, and I can tell you, like, was great when I first met him, but there's so many things that he just didn't know were important to me, and I didn't know that were important to him, that we've learned and adapted and figured each other out along the way. But honestly, had I been judging him based on his social or his dating app profile and hadn't lost a bet, I probably never would have met him.
Yeah.
And now he's, like, my favorite person. But, like, there's plenty of things that I think we want it to be, like, fresh out of the box, no assembly required. And that's just not how deep relationships work.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what love is. Love is, catering to somebody else, somebody else's needs. And I think that's actually why a lot of people don't get into serious relationships, because it takes laying down your life and your needs the way you would normally go about getting in your car, for example, to think, wow, the other person values this, so I'm going to lay down what is normal or convenient for me to think about somebody else, right? And I think that's the hardship of dating, is getting in a mindset outside of just yourself.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I've heard it said so many times, like, in relationships, in healthy relationships, and specifically in marriage, which is a different topic for a different day, but it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. That, like, some days I won't be able to muster up 100% of myself, but my partner can, and so you're going to each other and, like, able to adapt and, like, support each other. And I think it's really, like, especially in the early stages of dating, it's like we can make it this competition of here's all that I'm doing and they're not doing this, and it's like, well, maybe they are doing things that actually take a lot out of them because they care for you, and you just don't know what that looks like for them. So I think having the awareness of, like, it isn't a 50-50 thing. It's you're both bringing your best selves to the relationship or to the date or whatever, and figuring out how that plays out in the long run.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's so wise. So, okay, here we are. We've talked, it can be hard to date in Denver. I think we can change our mindset. I think even just before you go on a date, just even some positive self-talk. Like, you know what, like, it can be hard to date in Denver, but you know what, like, there's great people out there.
Yeah.
And I just want to get to know people. And it's not true that all dates have to be horrible. Like, this is an opportunity. So I think some positive self-talk. I think that I've actually met so many people like who have amazing stories, who have met in Denver. It's a real thing that we are seeing happen even within the Brook. So I think that's encouraging. But what is any other encouragement, any advice that you would give to a young professional who really is looking to date somebody in Denver?
I'd say go on dates. I think what's really, I mean, that's stupid, but so real.
Yeah.
You're never going to find the relationship that's for you if you're not willing to at least go out on a date, even if they don't meet all your criteria, and having a good attitude about it, like I said. And I think also, just as we've talked about, you know, there's these expectations and things that can even, I guess, demotivate you from even wanting to enter the dating world. And so managing your expectations, and also like taking inventory of your motivation for dating. Like, what do you want for when you're dating?
Yeah.
And like, why are you on dating apps? I know for me, dating apps were not healthy because it was just an instant like rush of validation that all these guys were liking me, even though I wasn't interested in them. And I was like, that actually is yucky. Like, that doesn't make me feel good. I was doing it for the wrong reasons. And I think that the dating app fatigue is really real. So I think managing your expectations, having a good attitude, and just going out on dates and not like taking it seriously, but also not taking it seriously. Like have a like happy, light attitude about it. You don't need to know if you're going to marry this person in order to say yes to a date.
Yeah, I think that's so good.
Yeah. I mean, I would echo some of those sentiments. I dated for 8 years. Probably went on, I would say 50 or so first dates, like through online or through meeting people at parks or whatever. And I would just view it as, it's not wasted time. Like all of those dates, like I met incredible people, it just didn't work out. Like I think, but eventually it will, and I think you just have to know what you're looking for. Like I went on so many first dates because I knew the values I wanted and were non-negotiable. And so if those didn't line up, like, it's still good to meet the person, but you just move on and try and find someone that, fits the important things. But I would say just don't lose heart. I think it does get tiring, like meeting so many people, going on so many dates. So just having like the mindset of it's not a waste of time to meet someone because people are still unique, and you get to hear cool, unique stories, and you learn a lot about yourself throughout that process. And after 8 years, I, finally found someone. And so I think, no, it might not happen tomorrow, or, we don't want to think about it for this year or next year, but know that like, as you're continuing to work on yourself and meeting people and putting yourself out there, eventually, you will find someone.
I love that. And I love what you said, Benji, is that you will learn a lot about yourself throughout the process, right? Like I think if we do engage in dating and getting to know people, the more we are around people, we're built to be in community, the more we actually understand what we like, and like as we are in community with other people. So I think that's really important. So man, this is a great conversation. We love having conversations even based around dating. I know that's a big thing with young professionals, and we want to be here to support you guys, encourage you, be a resource for you all. So go out, summer's near, go on a date, and we wish you the best of luck.